All right, we're back for part 2 of Let's Build with CrewAI, and this time we have a very special guest, Joe, the founder and CEO of CrewAI. Welcome, Joe.
Hey there! Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here.
Yeah, so if you've watched my channel at all, you've seen Joe. He's been on a number of different videos, a number of different live streams. I'm an investor in Crew. I absolutely love CrewAI. What do I always say? Bullish on agents. Crew is my favorite framework by far. And we've been building something really cool. So in this video, Joe's going to help us extend it and build it out better than what I probably could by myself. So first, let me just explain what we've built so far to you and to Joe as well, and then we'll start building again. So what I have built is I had this need where I'm thinking about creating an educational content portal all about artificial intelligence. And it's all going to be written content, articles, tutorials, very thorough on a plethora of different topics. And so I thought, great, let me put a crew together to help do the research and at least create that first draft of the article, of the piece of content, of the tutorial. And it worked incredibly well, Joe. Not only was it easy to install, although of course I struggled a little bit with Python environments, which I always do, but I know you have some tips for me, so we'll get to that in a moment. But overall, it just works so well. I'll also, once we get into it, I'll tell you I've tested a bunch of different models and I could see which ones worked better, which ones worked worse. You probably already know which ones worked best. We'll see. And by the way, I'm going to be pushing all of the code that we're writing today to GitHub. It'll be a public repo, and I'll drop that link in the description below. So here first is an example report. So the research topic was basics of fine-tuning a large language model. And I'll show you the definitions of the agents and tasks in a moment, but it did pretty well. And this is using GPT-4o, I believe, currently, maybe Mini, I can't remember. I'll show you in a minute, but like decent. Not very long, not very thorough. I've tried many different ways to try to get it to be more verbose and more detailed, more comprehensive, but I can't get it to do that. Now, I have tested the O1 models, and those crush. I mean, they just come up with the most comprehensive, detailed, well-written report possible. And I suspect there's a way to kind of coax the non-O1 models to do this because they are, the O1 models, exponentially more expensive. So I'll note all of these things. I'm going to be asking you all these questions, Joe. So let me show you now. I have my agents, I have my researcher, and I'm my educational content creator. Now, I was thinking about adding a reviewer agent, so that's maybe something we could do together today. But basically, senior researcher, give it a topic, do thorough research on the topic using the SERPer search tool. So that's something that I added. I'm using SERPer, signed up, grabbed the API in the previous video, and it is doing the research well. It seems to be working very well. Then I have the educational content creator. Basically, create the content, create a detailed, thorough, and compelling educational content based on the topic, research, and research findings provided to you. Make sure you explain everything in great detail. As you could see, pretty much on every line, I'm saying comprehensive, extensive, detailed, and I just can't seem to get the non-O1 models to do that, but we'll come back to that. So those are the agents. Then for the tasks, I have the research task. Then I have the reporting task. So the research task, conduct thorough research. And then for the reporting task, review the context you got and expand each topic into a full section for educational content piece. So I even said right here, each section should be a minimum of 5 sentences long. A minimum, actually that should be different, of 5 sentences long. Then I also started just putting a placeholder for the reviewer tasks. So I'm going to stop talking for a moment. Joe, I want to get your thoughts on all of this.
One, great use case. I love it. Two, so many ideas. Yes, O1 is definitely way more expensive, and that's the reason why a lot of people decide not to use it, just because it takes a long time as well. And what I found is, honestly, it hallucinates more often than regular models on the agentic behavior. And the reason why it does that is the normal agents don't have much option other than use the tools that you provide them. But the OLED models, because they have chain of thought, they try to come to the conclusion before we want to use any tools. They're like, well, I think I can infer if I do this, that, and this other thing. So I think we can very much replicate this behavior. So we have seen use cases like this where you want to produce more long format content in the past.
Yeah.
There's usually there's a concept usually that works very well. That is, you separate your crew into a planning stage and then a writing stage. So it's
Ah.
almost like you do the research, then with the research you have an agent to think through, all right, given that I understand this topic now, what would the ideal way to present this? What would be the topics, the titles, the subtitles? What are the things that I want to zoom in? So you get a plan out of that. And then after you got that plan, then you go into actually writing it. That usually works way better. And you can have a reviewer at the end as well. Uh,
That makes a lot of sense. And in fact, that would probably enable the agents to work more collaboratively, because right now it's just one agent doing the research, passes the research off to the reporting agent or the content writing agent, I should say, and then it just writes it. Instead, it could be like, well, here are all the different sections. Okay, go get that section. Let's write it. Go get the next section. Let's write it, and so on. Is that right?
That is right. And for that use case, that's like what I was referring to was even like one step earlier where we just have one extra agent kind of like doing the planning. But what
Uh-huh.
you described is where I would get next. And that is where like you have two crews. You have one crew that is focused on coming up with a plan, and you have another crew that is focused only on writing each paragraph or page. And we have seen this for people that are trying to produce 50-page long report and things like that. So you can definitely do it that way. And we can use one of the CrewAI new features for that. That is actually flows, and this would work pretty well with that.
Let's do it. And so, Joe, one last thing. I'm using Langtrace AI to track the traces, and they have a nice Crew AI plugin. I know you know this already. They are not sponsoring this video, just an awesome partner I've worked with in the past, and I really like being able to see all of the information, including the cost and the time taken right here really easily. So I usually reference this as I'm going through it.
I love it. Honestly, observability is a big thing on deploying and building AI agents. So I think you're doing right.
Awesome. Thanks to the sponsor of this video, Vultr. Reap the benefits of the world's largest independent cloud provider when you bring your GPU workloads over to Vultr. They have the latest NVIDIA GPUs spanning 32 locations across 6 continents. Vultr delivers industry-leading price to performance and serious accessibility and reliability. Vultr's global, fully composable cloud infrastructure moves your applications closer to your users and frees you from vendor lock-in, allowing you to bring your own networking and database solutions. And if you need to scale beyond just a single cluster, Vultr's Kubernetes engine allows you to take full control over your deployment, offering up a 100% free control plane. So if you're tired of waiting for GPUs from other providers, make sure to use Vultr. You can deploy at any scale immediately, and they have H100s, L40s, and more available right now. And you can get a fraction of a card or fully dedicated bare metal systems, which gives you full control over your hardware and your throughput. They also have one-click installation of all the applications you might need for advanced machine learning workloads, allowing you to get up and running in minutes, not hours. So experience the Vultr difference. Don't get bogged down by severe wait times or limited locations. Try it free today with a $300 credit for your first 30 days when you visit getvultr.com/Berman. And make sure to use code Berman300 at checkout to get that credit. Thanks again to Vultr for sponsoring this video. So, Joe, where do you think we should start?
I would say that probably, let's just set this crew aside for a second. We're going to bring it up. I would open a terminal and go into a folder for us to use a new CLI from CrewAI for flows. And we're going to bring this crew into a flow in a second.
Okay, so this is functionality that I have never used before. I'm very excited about it. Let's give it a try. So, new terminal. Let me get back into the right folder. I think I'm already there. Let's see, VM, base, edu. Yep. All right. I'm in the right place. What do I do?
All right, so you want to do CrewAI create flow and give it a name.
Is there any standard that I should think about when I'm creating the name?
I would say for a case like that, you'd probably say like educational content or something like that, but there's no right or wrong here.
Okay. Can I name it the same as my crew, or should I try to name it something different?
Something different, yes.
All right. I'll call it, since my crew is named EDU, I'll call this EDU Flow.
Love
Anything
it.
else that I need to do?
No, you should be good to go.
All right. Let's hit enter. And maybe, Joe, you can, as we're doing this, explain what a flow is and how we should think about using it.
Yes. So flows is something that we came up with because we realized there's a lot of use cases where you might want to have crews to collaborate with each other,
Hmm.
or you want to have some regular Python code, like you want to pull emails from somewhere and then pass that to a crew. And we needed to provide people a way for them to easily have this data move from one to another in a way that made sense.
Got
And this
it.
is how we came up with flows. But it's a very thin layer, but very simple and easy to use that allows you to do some of that.
Awesome. So just by running this command, CrewAI create flow, and then I gave it the name, it created a folder within my main EDU folder for this crew. Source, tests, a bunch of stuff. Let's see what's within source. We got crews, tools. So feels very familiar. What do we do now?
I would say let's start by moving your existing crew inside that crews folder to make sure that we can use it.
Okay. And which files folders do I move in to do that? The entire source?
Assuming this is the base for can you close that just to see what is in there? No, I think you want everything else. So you probably want the main, like the main folder with everything within it.
The main folder.
Oh, so I see on the left there, on your terminal there,
Hmm.
I see you were inside there the edu
Yeah.
folder. That edu folder is the crew, right?
Yes, that is the crew. Yes.
So what I would say is you probably want to move out the flow folder to somewhere else because you want everything inside edu flow.
Ah, okay. Okay, good to know. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to move the edu flow folder to my desktop. Then I'm going to take the edu folder, the entire thing, and then move that into edu flow. Is that right?
Exactly into the source crews of edu flow.
Okay, so now let me reopen it because I don't think it looks right in cursor. All right, so we have edu flow with the edu crew within it.
Yes, and you can move now that to SRC in Cruise.
Right here.
So the whole edu folder inside the Cruise folder.
Okay, so I have in source edu flow cruise. So I have the
You
poem
got
crew,
it.
which is a sample, I assume. So I'm going to move the edu crew into there.
Yes.
And let's just make sure it gets reflected over here. Crew, edu crew, and there's where is it? Source, config. There's our definitions. Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay,
So everything's in there now. So you have a flow and you have a crew on it. One thing for us to do real quick for admin is you probably want to copy your environment variables from .env into the main crew flow .env.
absolutely. Okay, let's do that. Okay,
All
so
right.
yeah, we got it.
So you got a crew. Now let's step back and check how the flow works. If you go into the flow main file, and that's towards the bottom,
Okay, flow main file right here.
yeah. So you can see the flow is very simple. As I said, it's a very thin layer. In here, it has a poem flow. And you can see there's a function there on line 19 that is annotated with a star. The start thing that annotates that function indicates that that's the initial function of your flow. And then what happens is you have an event-based system. So anything that is listening to generate sentence count is going to be executed afterwards. So on line 23, you see that you have another function that is listening to that one. So once that one is done, then it's gonna call the generate poem, and then once generate poem is done, you're gonna call save poem right there. Uh, and this is a very simple flow, but the way that we can use this is we can have a start function that basically triggers one crew, and this crew does all the research on the topic, gets pretty deep into this, and creates a plan. And then you're going to have another crew that's going to be listening to that once that's done, that actually goes in a loop, writes the content for every single chapter or paragraph, depending on how big you want this to be.
Okay, so we are going to have, if I understand correctly, one crew doing the research and the prep, and then another crew actually creating the content.
Yes, and this is the most advanced setup that we can get. We could try to do everything on one crew, but this is kind of like how you want to get done for real.
Okay, let's do it. I like advanced. It's so funny. I would have probably just been trying to do it with one crew, but it's nice to know that flows are available now.
Yes. So let's change a few things here real quick. Let's remove that state from the poem. You can just drop that whole thing.
Like this
Instead of
this
it,
whole thing?
I would say
No.
let's delete from line 10 to 13 at first.
Okay.
Yes. And then we can rename some of the classes instead of poem flow to be your actual flow, edu flow, and
Okay.
also importing our right crew in there.
So yeah, so it says poem crew. Is the crew part of it, or I guess what I'm asking is, it should just be edu crew, right?
Yeah, I think it's
It might
edu in your
just,
case.
yeah, it might not even be crew. It might just be edu, right?
Yeah, I think for your case, yes, that's it. I think Cursor's got that right. So if you go back into that line and I think on the last one is edu. If you delete one character real quick,
There we
yes,
go.
try to just yeah, there you go. That should work. So if you just
All
press
right.
tab.
And then this should be edu.
So the cool thing is one of the cursors does is kind of like the autocompletes thing. So if you go back to the edu first and you just start like typing something like a dot, you can see that it suggests it to you. So if you press tab, it auto completes the line for you. I don't know if
Mm,
that is necessarily. Oh, that seems to be right. You can see that the
is
color
that
changes,
right?
so it was able to improve it. Yeah,
crew.edu.source.edu.crew. So it's really it's getting it all the way from the nested directory here.
yeah. We can double check in the end if it's
Cool.
working, but yeah, there's a way to import it for sure. You don't need to pass an attribute in there. You can basically delete the poem state. I think you still need the flow in there. We just don't. Yeah, you can drop the brackets. Yeah, there you
Okay,
go.
and then I'm going to rename this to edu flow.
Yeah,
Okay, and then same thing here. Let's just get that fixed.
yeah.
Okay,
So I would say
generating
online
educational content. Uh-huh.
On line 13, let's rename that generate sentence to research, like research content or research topic.
Okay.
Yeah. So now let's just drop line 14 and 15 for now and just add a comment so that we know that that's where our first crew is going to leave. Nice. And now we
Okay.
can do a similar thing with the second function. But now it's going to be listening to the generate researched content,
Great.
and then
Okay.
we can rename that as well, and yeah, do the whole thing.
And this should be renamed to that. Yeah.
Yep, and we can drop the content and replace with a comment for now, just so that we know, like, all right, this is where like
Uh,
the second crew is going to come.
uh s- sorry, just leave it like this?
I know. I mean, it's up to you how you name the function. I meant that we can delete the content of the function from 18th to 26
Got it.
to just
Got it.
have
Yep,
it as a
yep,
comment
yep.
for now.
Okay. Can
Yep.
this be the same name as the this function up here?
Not the same, but in the way that they're doing there, like it's pretty good. They are different names.
Oh, I see. I see. Yes. Yes, it is. Oh my God, I didn't even notice. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
The problem that you are seeing in there is because a function with only a comment with it doesn't work. So if you want to just get rid of this from now, you can type pass in the next line within the function. Yes, and you can do the same thing for the first one as well. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, lovely.
We can drop the line 22 to 27. We don't need that. And just rename some of the later ones.
Edu flow right there. We'll also do edu flow right there. Obviously, let's rename all of these. Edu flow.
All right.
Beautiful.
So now, before we actually do the cruise and anything, if you want to go in your terminal, you should be able to type CrewAI flow plot.
Okay. What is that going to do?
I'm going to show you in a second.
We noticed a new, maybe you can help me with this. I see this new environment has been created, and I never know whether I should be selecting yes or no. I think I always get it wrong. Right now it's on base conda, which doesn't seem, oh, well, it disappeared. Great. Do you usually select that?
I don't get a lot of that because I prefixated a specific Python version, but I gotta say that the way that I set things up is a little unusual. Like I have an actual Python installed in the computer. I don't use much of like virtual environments myself.
Okay. Okay. All
All
right.
right.
So I think it's done.
Yeah, so open up on Finder real quick, and
All
then you
right.
should have a CrewAI Flow HTML that you can render in there, and
Hey, look at that. Oh, this is
you can
awesome. I'm going to
you
move that
can
little
zoom
thing right there.
in on it. You can click and
Yeah.
expand. And again, this is a very simple, but by some of the labels like below, you can see that it can get quite complex with routers,
Yeah.
triggers, ends, and Rs, and everything.
Wow. This is so cool. Okay. Okay. Obviously, it's still a very simple use case, but this is awesome.
Yeah, but one example here is like, let's say that you then want to push this into a CMS automatically, right? You don't need to get out of this to do that. You can basically create another function that like listens to generate educational content. And then you can write regular Python code that does an API call and pushes this into a CMS.
That
And
is
now you have a more complex flow.
that's exactly what I'm going to need to do eventually. I want to push this to a CMS, so I'm definitely going to take you up on that when we get there. Okay, very cool.
All right, so now let's add our two crews, and we're gonna probably reuse your. Let's just start creating a new one for the research. So you can type, and let me see if I remember this from top of mind. Is crew AI flow create dash crew? I think that's it. Oh, by the way, create dash crew is one single thing, and then you can give a crew name. You can see edu research, for example.
All right, let's see. So create AI, oh, sorry, crew. What?
Yeah, try to do the dash dash help. I think I remember that wrong. So create
Create
flow
flow
dash dash
dash
help.
dash help. Let's see what the command is.
Add
Add
crew.
crew. There we are. All right. So what we're doing is we're creating a new crew within the edu flow, our current flow. And the command will be crew AI flow add dash crew and then the name of the crew edu dash research. Let's hit enter and see what we get.
Yes. So
Okay.
it went
So
ahead, create a crew for you inside the folder that you have in there. So if you, yeah, if you close the edu folder, there you go. Now you have edu research, and you can
edu
drop the
research.
poem crew, by
Yeah.
the
Let's
way.
get rid of that right now because we're not using that anymore. Great. Now we have edu research. Beautiful. And
Yes.
just like normal, we have the agent's definition in a YAML file, the task definition in a YAML file.
Yeah.
Very
You can see
nice.
You can see though that this is a way more compact setup, like especially if you compare with your old one, because that other one was a crew in isolation. It has its own environment variables, its own tools folder, a bunch
Hmm.
of different things. This one, because it's leveraging the whole setup that is going on in the flow, it's just kind of thinner and slimmer version of the crew.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right. So we have a research crew. Should I also create a basically I think the EDU crew, the old one, is there just for reference, I'm gonna guess. Like going for we're gonna create a research crew and then we also need the actual content writing crew. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say let's go ahead and create a new one as well.
All right. So EDU content writer. And so same thing, crew AI flow, add dash crew, then the name. Let's hit enter. So we should see, yep, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. So we have these two crews, the EDU content writer, the EDU research. Um, we also have the old EDU, which we're just going to use for reference.
Yeah. So now we should be able to just add agents and tasks to our YAML files as we use normally and setting them up as a crew on that crew file, same way that we would. And we can keep it simple for now. We can just like get something going and then we really improve some of those agents.
Okay, so I'm going to open up the EDU folder for now. Let's grab the old definition so I don't have to rewrite some of this stuff. Agents. So this is what I used before. Whoops, we don't need both of them. We just really need the researcher for now. So I'm going to grab that.
By the way, can I give you some cursor tips?
Oh, please, please. I'm
All
so
right.
rusty, by the way, with coding. I haven't really been coding much. Please.
No worries. So going to your agency YAML, the old one,
Yep.
that one, yeah, you copy the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
So the both agents, just select everything and you're good to go.
Okay.
Yes. Now going to your new one for research, for example.
Yep. Let's see. Agents.yaml.
All
Uh-huh.
right. Now you can select all this. And what you want to do is you want to type Command K. And now you can say, I want to create agents for doing research on a topic. Describe your use case. And after that, you say, here's an example. And you paste the content that you just copied from the other one.
Interesting. Okay. And let me see. So do you usually use Llama 3.1 Versatile for this, or should I be using like Claude 3.5 Sonnet?
I'm a huge fan of Sonnet for Cursor, so I usually side with Cursor, with Sonnet.
Which one do you use, by the way?
I think the other one is a cut. I'm using the regular 3.5, the one in the top.
All right, let's use that one. Okay, so create agents for creating educational content based on this information from my previous agent definition. Okay.
And by the way, before you press enter, I would add a few things. So I would say, what exactly do we want to take out from this? So you can say the final result from the final agent should be a complete plan on how to write a long form content with titles, subtitles, and why each topic matters, what is important by it, and maybe even include sources where information came from.
Okay, so the final goal for the researcher agent should be let's see, how do I want to do this? The final goal for the researcher agent should be to collect all of the information necessary, including doing a web search with SERPer tool to
I would say like to find all the relevant information about a given topic. And then I would definitely add at the end of the thing that you want to plan out of this. And this plan should have a few things and just be very descriptive about what are the things that you want to have.
the resulting how do you say that though, like, because it's part of the
So
goal, right?
yes, it's going to be part. Oh, you're right. These are the agents, right? So maybe we save some of this to the tasks. Maybe
Yeah.
this should be good enough. So you should be able
Let's
to
see what it
press
does.
enter now. And this is the part where cursor really shines. Now, when you're ready, you can just press command enter and it's going to accept the suggestions.
Did it finish? Yeah, it finished. Okay,
Yeah.
senior researcher accept. Okay, but it had both of the agents, which we don't need both of them in this crew, right? We only
I
need the
mean, I would
researcher.
I would have both because what I would say is we can have the researcher really focus on finding out the so the way I'm thinking is the first agent in the research phase is gonna find out the like all the different information. It's gonna go wide and broad. The second one, I want them to create a plan. I want to like a very structured thing out of this. I want to say like, all right, it's going to have 5 sections. These are the sections from everything that the researcher found. These are the main things that I want to have in each section. So I would go that route with 2 agents.
Okay. So in my previous version, I had a researcher, and then the educational content creator was the agent that was actually writing the content. But that's not quite what we want here. It should be educational content
Planner,
planner.
maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, whenever we change one thing, do you notice how the tab thing is showing
Yeah.
up? You
Jeez.
You can just keep pressing tab and it's going to complete the thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I started paying for Cursor today. Totally worth
It's so
it.
good. So good.
All right. So how does that look?
Let me check that out. All right, keep your ability to turn complex research into clear. I think for the agents, this looks great. I think on the tasks, though, we're going to need to be more descriptive of the contents of the plan that we
Should
want to
I
get.
should I be a little bit more descriptive with the researcher's name, like educational content? I guess it's really just for internal use. It doesn't really affect how the
No,
AI
that should be
interprets it.
good.
Okay,
That
so
should be good.
I'm gonna make that more simple then. I'll say that's the planner.
Yeah,
All right, cool. Now let's open up the tasks. Oops. No, this is the old one though, so I don't need that. We need tasks here. Here we go. Uh-huh. Okay, so research task, reporting task. So let me grab the old information now and copy, paste. Nope, don't paste. Hit Command K. Yep. Ah, cool. Okay, so edit these agent tasks to include information from the following. Okay, so we got that. And then from the following snippet of older code, then maybe we'll do something like the, you know what? I just want to see what it does, and I want to edit it in line. So let's just see.
sure. And by the way, you can keep doing like Command K. And there's one feature that I didn't tell you about that is the Command L. And that is for more like a longer chat. Like Command K is more like ad hoc, change this.
Got
The
it.
Command L is going to open like a chat menu on the right for you to constantly chat with it.
Okay. So we have the research task. That seems right. I think this, instead of being reporting, it should be planning task.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at the research task first. So conduct a thorough research. Let's just clean that up. Conduct thorough research about topic. Make sure you find any interesting and relevant information given, put that on the same line, given the current year is 2024. Should I explicitly tell it to use the SERPer tool here?
You don't need to.
Okay.
What I would do though is I would add some flavor to the research, right? For example, if I'm trying to produce material that is talking very much about the future, I would say we're looking for the cutting edge content, the most relevant information. Or if I'm trying to do something for executives, I would say I'm trying to find things that are meant for executive decision makers to understand the market or understand the topic.
Okay. So what I'm looking for is content. Hmm. Yeah, I'm looking for content that is beginner friendly, but also comprehensive. I think it also will depend on how I define the topic. So if I say intro to fine tuning large language models versus advanced fine tuning of large language models, I can kind of adjust it in the topic right there, right?
Yeah, that right there, I think that's good. But if one thing, like, it seems that what you're trying to get is you want to get you're gonna get information from basic level to kind of like an intermediary level because the idea is to kind of like build a
Yep.
build up the content, right? So I would say it might be worth adding something like this. But again, we can always come back and change it. We don't need to get it right on the first one. So
Ah, good point.
if you feel like this is good enough, maybe
Yeah,
that's what you run with.
let's see what happens. I like testing it along the way. So expected output, a thorough research report. Is it a report though? Really, what I wanted to do is gather information. So I guess it's a report. Is that a good word for it? Do you think?
I would use a report. I think a report's good. And then the second, like the key for the second like task is a plan more than anything.
Okay, so a thorough research report on topic with relevant information oops, that it can be turned into that can be turned into an educational piece of content afterwards. The research report should also include references to the sources you use to create the content. Perfect.
Yeah. One thing that I would add as well is instead like saying that it can be turned, I could say that it will inspire educational content.
And what's the reasoning for that change?
It's just that I don't want it to kind of like stray away and start to actually writing any pieces. I wanted to give like as much of raw information as we can into our next planning agent because the next agent is the one that's going to try to find out those, all right, how do I make this like interesting or edgy or like explainable in a different way? And I think the rawest information that we get for the second agent, the better it will do.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. All right, so then for the planning task, review the context you received and expand each topic into a full section for an educational content piece.
Yeah, we want to change out that. I would say review the content you received and get inspired and not get inspired, let's say, and come up with a plan for an
Right.
amazing educational content that is aimed at, and then you can use another variable persona in there, maybe.
Oh, yes. I'll call it audience. Very nice.
Right?
Audience level. Yeah, so
Yes.
beginner, intermediate, advanced. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
cool. Maybe I should put that up here as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So, but I guess it doesn't matter. Like for the researcher, grab everything.
I mean, honestly, it might matter because it might change some of the searches that it will do.
Okay. A thorough audience level research report on topic.
Yes. I mean, maybe because if you use beginner that, it might do a beginner research. So maybe you want to put that later in the sentence, like a thorough research on our topic, um, that will inspire educational content afterwards, aimed towards audience level.
Okay. Aimed aimed at audience level. Great.
Yeah. And then I would say lines 13th to 15th there, we want to replace them with like what is the actual plan. So in here is where you can even interpolate more variables or like you can say like, oh, I want this to be edgy, I want this to be insightful. Um, and then you go into what exactly is the plan that you want. And I
Okay,
think
so
that,
sorry.
sorry, go for it.
The plan should be highly detailed and comprehensive. Um, let's see. The plan should be highly detailed and comprehensive. Maybe just that. Okay. And
Yeah.
then,
And now I would say, yeah, return a list off, and then you can do a series of bullet points, and you can say uh, subtitles.
and that would be in the description, not in the expected output.
That would be an expected output. I think that would be better in there. Yes.
Okay, so let's try that. Okay, so formatted as Markdown. Make sure to include any references to sources you use to create the
Yeah,
to create
we don't
the
need
plan.
we don't need. I would
Oh, I guess we
replace all
don't need
that.
that for the plan, huh?
Yeah, no markdown whatsoever because we're actually going to be using a Pydantic object there.
Got it. Okay. Fully fledged educational no, that's not it. So this whole thing needs to go. Okay,
Yeah,
so a detailed plan for content level or audience level, I should say. A detailed plan. How else should I define this?
my take is if you want a one single page, what you want is a plan for each section. So I would say the plan should be a series of sections, each section with a subtitle, a high level goal,
Each section with a title, subtitle, eye level goal,
and I would say one thing that worked for me in the past is why these section matter.
why it's important, and a detailed breakdown of the section. Hmm.
Might be worth it to add the source material, like the sources where the
Right.
content could be extracted from.
Sources referenced. And I guess, do we need the detailed breakdown of the section?
Nah, I would save that. Yeah, and I would remove title because remember you're gonna have one title. This is only about like each section of your article.
Okay, so with a subtitle and sources referenced. Okay. And then
Okay.
educational content planner. Let me just make sure. No, it's called planner now. So I gotta change that. Okay. How does that look?
Looks pretty good.
So can we just try this and see what comes from it?
Yeah, go back into your main.py file and let's import this crew.
Okay. Edu flow. This is it. Yep. Okay. Okay.
Yes, so you can go on line 9 there and try to import doing from point crews. There you go, research crew.
Jeez. All right. Oh, nope, that didn't work. Let's see.
Try delete line number 8 for a second. I think that's screwing cursor off. And I think what you want in there is let me get what would be the right path. One second. Oh,
There
there you
we
go.
Nope, that didn't work. So cruise, edu, edu research. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
don't think you need the
Cruise.
crew,
I
the
think there's
final
an
crew thing.
maybe that. Oh, you don't. Okay.
Research. Maybe that it. Oh, and then you gotta do edu research again. Edu search crew, sorry. Dot edu search crew. There you go. Underscore crew.
All right.
Yeah. So now on the first
I
function
see.
there, the
And by
gen
the way, this is all what we just did is to find this file right here.
exactly.
Okay.
So now on line 14, you can actually call edu research crew kickoff. And for now, because we're testing it, we can just pass the inputs in there on the kickoff, and we're going to need to pass audience level and topic.
Okay. Audience level beginner topic. Let's
One
say
thing though,
fine tuning LLMs.
the
Hmm.
one thing though is that the audience level and topic should be a dictionary with a parent key called inputs. So there we go.
Oh my God. I wouldn't have known how to do that. That's so cool. I'm sorry. I'm so blown away by all this. All right. Except that looks right.
That looks right, yes. So we should be able to, you can delete that past line on 19. That is not required anymore. And you should be able to do CrewAI flow kickoff.
Okay. So CrewAI flow kickoff. Let's see.
Cross fingers.
Running the flow. Okay. Right. Has no attribute. Kickoff.
Oh, I think what it is, oh, there's a couple of things. So the first one is, I think what is missing is you're calling kickoff, and if it was a class function, you need to instantiate. So we need to do the two parentheses on the crew before calling kickoff.
Okay. That's it.
I think that's it.
Let's go to try. Right. So that's not a class method. Now it's an instance method,
Yeah.
or you're calling it on an instance. Yep. Okay. Uh,
There you go. So if you go into edu research crew, that file that we created within the crew. All right, so can I show you another interesting thing from Cursor?
yes, please. And look, it already
All right,
knew. It already knew the change.
before it does that, you can do Command L. Now, I want to say you can do at and type tasks. It find the right tasks YAML for this crew. I think it's the
Uh,
second one.
yep.
You can press enter, and now you can type change this file to use the right agents and tasks. So what it's doing is it's pulling from your agents and tasks files, and it's updating. It did something wrong in there. It didn't work because it's updating the YAML file. So maybe what you do is go into the edu research file again, click on that one. Now try to do Command L for a second. Let's see if it loads it right now. Yes, now it's right. Now you can add agents and tasks with the at, and you can say update this crew file to use the right agents and tasks definitions.
Okay. So, edu research, update this file to use the right agents and task
And by the
definitions.
way, it might be worth like just mentioning like this crew Python file or something so it updates the right one. Yeah, you see it's updating the YAML, but you can update it. So if you click back on where you wrote on your prompt on the chat side, on the upper right, you can update it. So you can say, make sure that you're updating the research crew file, Python file. Yeah. And now you can do it.
Okay.
And then there we go.
There we go. All
So
right.
once it finishes, you can click on the apply in there.
Okay, we can see the diff. Interesting, it
Yep.
changed, it removed that. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Planner, planning task, plan.md. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Yeah. And then all you got to do is
Huh.
do Command Enter or click on that and it can accept all the changes.
There we go. Man, where have
and,
I
and
been?
And as a side note, on the chat, if instead of enter when you send a prompt, you had done command enter, it would then do a semantic search through the entire repository to find any other sources of information that is helpful.
All right. I see why everybody's using cursor.
All right, so there's one thing in there that we don't have is we don't import our server to. So we probably want to uncomment that line 8 and then pass that on to our researcher. There we go.
Like so. So easy.
Yep.
Okay. Create flow kickoff. Running the flow. All right. Wrapped class object has no attribute kickoff.
All right, so let me double check.
While you do that, I'm going to see if I could just get cursor to tell me what's going on. I'm just going to highlight and say fix this. The error message indicates a key error for the key planner. Okay, so check agents configuration. Yep, that's already no changes. Good. Tasks, I think it's good. Verify the Python code. Let's do apply. Entire file. Any changes? I don't see any changes. Maybe it made it without a diff. Okay, check
Uh,
initialization. Let's just see what I don't know if anything actually changed, but I'll run it again. Let's see.
oh, I see it now. So it's we need to do after you create an instance of the crew, you need to do a dot crew on top of that. My bad, I forgot about it.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see. So that would be in main.py dot crew dot
Yeah.
kickoff, just like that.
Uh, just make sure that it's calling crew as a function. So the parenthesis after that.
Um, how do I do
So
that?
dot crew, open and close parentheses, and then kick off.
Ah,
Yes, there you go.
got it. Okay, okay. Let's see. Let's try it again. All right, so it's kicking off. There we go.
There you
Okay,
go.
link found a YouTube video. Okay, okay, I like that. So here's all the SERPA results. Huh. Okay. So now that's working. Now I'm gonna switch over to Langtrace. See, we should be getting some new information in here. Okay, maybe I'll wait till it's all finished. Okay, agent, review the content you receive, come up with a plan.
I love it. And there's the references right there. Nice. There's one final thing that is missing on this crew, and that is the pydantic setup, so that we get an actual object out of it. But that should be very easy to do, and we can use Cursor to help us with that.
Okay, and can you explain like what exactly that means and why we would want a pydantic object?
So a lot of these agents, they're taking text in and putting text out. And that's good for a lot of the use cases. But if you think about what we're trying to do here, we're trying to get a very specific kind of plan. We know that we want specific keys, specific values, we know the types and everything. So we can use function calling from these agents to get us an actual object. And what it means is that we can use that object to do any programming things. For example, a loop. So if we say, hey, before this agent wraps up the work, now it already has the plan, let's convert that plan into an actual object that has all the sections on it so that we can loop them, so that we can call another crew for executing each item on that loop.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So it'll allow us to have an object that is easier for other crews to work with.
Exactly. And for us to use for anything in the code that is not a string.
Okay, so we have the plan. Let's just take a look. Let's see how that came out. So, educational content plan for beginners. Love it. Section 1, understanding large language models, high level goal, why it's important, everything we asked for. Content outline, define LLMs and their application in real world scenarios, explain the architecture of LLMs, discuss the training process. Beautiful. Sources referenced. I skipped over that, but there's sources referenced. DataCamp, for example. Section 2, what is fine tuning? Section 3, the fine tuning process step by step. Content outline. There it is. Section 4, technique. Section 5, challenges. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. Okay. I think this is an absolute win.
I think right now, the one thing that we need to squash before we move to the next crew is just making sure that we're getting a pydantic object. So
Okay.
let's use cursor for that. Do one thing. Copy the first section of the plan.
Copy the first section. So basically all of this. Okay.
Yes. Now let's go into our EDU research crew.
Okay.
And then outside of the crew base around line 9, you can break a line, do Command K, and basically say, create me a pydantic object to support this structure.
I'm so blown away by this. By the way, did you see Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, said 25% of all of their code is now written by AI?
I gotta say, I think in CrewAI is probably higher.
Good, as it should be. I mean, this is so cool. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what it does.
Yes. So there you go. The right imports right there, create the object for us, and create a content outline. All right, this feels very good. I
Okay.
would say it even went a little overboard and make things like a
What is
little
this up
more.
here?
Oh, this is just if you click
Oh, there we
accept,
go.
accept the, yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. So I like this. It went a little bit more than what I would want to go. For example, the content outline. I think we can replace line 21 with basically just a list string similar to line 14. Yeah.
Does it hear you? Is that's what's? It's so cool. Okay.
And then you can drop line 12 to 14. Yeah, we don't need that anymore. And then educate, and this is perfect. So you see there's two objects in there, and this is
Mm-hmm.
regular Python by now. Like, hey, you're gonna have a section. A section will always have title, high level go, why important, sources, and content outline. You have types for what every single attribute will be, and then you create another object called an educational plan that will have a list of the object above. So there's gonna be many sections. So now what we're gonna do is copy that name, educational plan, because that's the object that we want. No, just the name, educational plan as the object.
Uh-huh.
Go into your final task.
Go
So if
into
you
the
scroll down, it can be directly in there or in the YAML. The like doesn't really matter by now. And on instead of output file, you can say output. Let me double check. I think
is
it's
that it right there?
output. It's not. I think it is. Let me double check. It's output pydantic. So output underscore pydantic, and then you can paste that same name.
Not
Oh no, no.
file. Output Pydantic educational plan.
Yes, perfect.
All right.
All right. So now what this means is that if you go into our main file there,
Mm-hmm.
we can after we call the kickoff, we actually can call a dot pydantic, and that will give us exactly that object. And that object now is going to be automatically passed into our next function. So right on the next function on line
But we
21,
we will no longer get the plan dot markdown, right?
no, we could if we want to, but no, in the current setup, we don't.
Okay.
Uh, and then what are we going to do on line 21 after self? You want to add a comma in say plan because you're now getting that exactly that object in there. And you don't need to have like the type in there. You can just delete the type in the two. Yeah, there you go.
Just like that?
All right, exactly. Now we have the plan. So what we can do is we can call plan dot sections because we know that our object have sections
Where
on
is
it.
this defined?
So this is actually coming up from the function above. Do you see how you have listening on line 20? So on line 20, we're saying listen,
Yes.
research content. And then when that function gets done, its return gets piped into the next one. So a good catch is on line 18th, we need to do return before the whole crew execution. We just do return beforehand. Oh, exactly as
Yep,
cursor
yep,
is.
yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. Of course it's exactly what Cursor's saying. Yep, okay. Sure.
So now what it's doing is like it's passing that as the argument for your next function. So
Beautiful.
as we're passing only one, we can call that plan. And keep in mind that because we know what that object is, we know that plan has an attribute called sections. So on line 22, we can do plan. I think what is the syntax? We can do for section. There you go, cursor. Exactly. But instead of printing as we have on the 23rd, that's where we're going to call our crew that is going to actually write that section.
But we don't have that yet, so we need to go define that. So
Exactly.
to call crew here.
And one thing that I would add before the for, let's create one variable that
Uh-huh.
we're going to call final content and make it an empty string for now. Or actually, let's make an array for now. Yeah, and then as we call the crews inside the for loop, we're gonna be appending the results
Yeah.
into that final content.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so before we do that, let's now we actually have to create the content creation crew.
I think we already have done it. We just need to define their agents and tasks.
Yep. Okay. So let's see. EDU content writer, config. Let's just make sure these look good. Yep. This is what we need. Okay. We did already do it. Do we need to update this at all based on?
Ah,
I think we do.
I would. And one thing, if you want to get more fancy, is we can copy the agent's definition from the research and then use cursor and say like, hey, we had this other agents to do research. Now we want our agents to do the write-up and the review.
Yep. I gotcha. All right. So writer, research, agents. Let's start with agents. So I'm going to copy that. Then I'm going to hit Command K, paste. We have this agent's definition. No. Oh, yeah. From the EDU research crew. Now create a content writing crew based on this that uses the information the research crew found. All right, let's see what it
That's a,
does.
yeah,
Educational content writer, educational editor. Oh, quality reviewer. Okay, okay.
got a little fancy there, right?
Yeah. All right. The only thing I don't see is it referencing the skill level, the audience level. So let me do
We,
that.
yeah, we can add all that.
Make sure to reference the audience level as well. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Except, I mean, boy. Okay, my mind is blown. Okay.
Now we probably can copy this one and go into tasks and say like, all right, now help us figure out the tasks.
Now take this code from agents.yaml and help me create the associated task for each agent.
One thing that I would say is probably might be worth it mentioning. Well, I
Yeah.
think it's gonna get, yeah, there
Well,
you
let's
go.
see. You
It
tell me.
works.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, expected output. Yeah. Right? Is that where you're going?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. I'm like smiling ear to ear. I'm blown away by Cursor. I'm blown away by Crew. I need to code more. I'm gonna do more of these long style videos where I'm just coding and building. I really enjoy these, so expect more of these for sure. And I'm very grateful, Joe, that you're helping out.
Ah, no worries. I'm having a lot of fun, honestly. Like things have been so busy, I don't get to be in many crews myself anymore. So I love this.
All right. Cool. So I think we're good here. Let's go back to main.py. I think you're gonna have to help me understand how to like place all these sections.
1,000%. So the first thing is let's make sure that we are importing the crew on line 9, the same way that we do with the educational research. Yes. There we go. Perfect.
Is there a reason this is grayed out?
No, you can. No, no, just because you haven't been using it yet. As soon as you use it, it's
Ah,
gonna go
right.
back to
Yep, yep,
normal.
yep, yep, yep. Okay.
There we go.
Oh my gosh.
The one thing that I would say though, the
Yeah.
section thing that it's passing there, remember that this section is actually a pydantic object. So what do we
Hmm.
want? And I'm gonna keep it simple here. We can get it more complex, but I think you can call to JSON on section, and that's gonna convert the section into a JSON object. I might be wrong, but we can figure it out.
Okay. Let's run it.
Yes, and then you don't need the dot pydantic in the end of this one. And another thing that I would say is in the end, you can do a print final content. Yeah, and you can do that out of the four.
Yep.
Yes, there
Yep.
we
Yep.
go.
Yep. And is this going to
And
store to a file or it's just going to print out here?
it's gonna print out here, but remember, you can create another function that listens to that, that gets the final content, and then you can save the file, push to the cloud, do whatever. But this should work. Again, we didn't spend much time on the agent and tasks, so we don't know what's going to come out from that. But this should run.
Let's see. Let's see what it does. Kick off. I'm gonna clear. All right. So
So
we
there's a you can stop the execution because I think I see a problem in there.
okay.
So we're not passing. And by the way, we're going to clean this up in a second. But for now, we need to pass inputs into the educational content crew as well. We're not passing the audience and the topic into that. So similarly, we need to do it as well in there. One way that you could do is you could just break the line above, and start typing inputs and cursor will do it for you. There you go.
Audience level as well.
I think you don't need content plan. I think you just need topic and research, but not the way that it's doing. You can hard code it as you did on line 15, 16, and 17 for now, and we're going to clean it up in a second.
Okay. Okay. And right, we don't want to basically type these things twice. So I'll fix that right now. Edit.
Yeah, there's
Extract the inputs, input variables. Don't type it twice.
so I think the one thing that I'm going to say is
I don't like how
don't
it did that. I'll stop
yeah,
it.
the problem is because with Command K, it only will change on the things that you selected.
Ah,
So for this, you might want to do Command L.
all right. So extract the input variables so it is dry.
There we go.
That looks right. Okay. Accept. Ah, that's so much better. Cool. Cool. Okay.
Yep,
Run it.
let's do it.
Okay. CrewAI flow kickoff.
All right. So the first crew should work fine because we already did that. All
Yeah.
right. It's tracking great. Well, there's one thing that we didn't have before that was the Pydantic object. So let's see how that will go.
So I think one thing that I learned from the first video and now working on this with you is that even though in the first video O1 did pretty well, it was very expensive and very slow. And by using more of Crew's functionality, we can actually easily not only replicate, but probably exceed O1's capabilities. But we use any model, right? Much cheaper, much faster model. And then, of course, we can always continue to try O1 to see what it gets. And then I think like my basic approach to all AI development is start with the best model. And then as you find efficiencies, as you find different ways to build what you need to build, you use kind of the less expensive, quote unquote, lower quality models because you have all of this framework helping you.
Yes, and again, like the good thing is that we could change the whole models that is powering the screw, changing one line of code in
Yes.
your end file. So that is pretty good. All right. So the error that we got in there is if you go into the edu research crew py file, not the research, sorry, the content writer crew py file,
Mm-hmm.
we need to change this to use our agents and tasks definitions. This is using the full ones right now.
So I'll just do Command L, fix this to use the definitions in at agents and
And
at tasks.
yep,
Gosh,
you got it.
this is cheating. Okay,
I gotta say,
apply
it's pretty good.
entire file. This doesn't feel right.
No, it doesn't. You don't need to do any of that importing. But again, you can accept certain pieces of it if you want to.
Okay.
So you can say, for example, you don't accept the line, yeah, that you don't need, that
Import
you don't need as
YAML, we
well.
don't need. This we don't need. This we do.
Yep.
This we do. this we do. Yep. I see. I
I
see.
mean, do you know one thing? Like, I'm noticing that there's like a few things that are ring out. So maybe let's try to reject the whole thing.
All right.
And what you can do is on your chat there, you can reference back the other file. So on your chat, you can see, make sure that we are working, we are doing it similar to a do research crew.
Okay. Let's see if that works now.
Nah, same
No.
thing.
No. Let's see. No need to load YAML, right?
Yeah, no need
What
to
is
load
it
the YAML.
thinking what is it trying to do here? I'm confused.
I think it's trying to manually work around a lot of the things that Crew already does.
Okay, let's just fix it manually. Sometimes you got to do that. So edu content writer crew. So that's not right. Um, hmm. Now I'm so dependent on cursor. I'm like, wait, how do I use cursor to do this?
So I think the only thing that I want to do is I want to get the agents' names from agents YAML and replace them in there correctly. And then the same thing for the tasks.
Okay, so agents YAML.
So it's content writer, editor, and quality reviewer.
Okay, so I'll try one more time. Adjust the names of the agents and tasks to match at agents.yaml, edu content writer, and at tasks.yaml. Okay, there it is. Editor, writing task, edit. Yeah, so that looks right.
Yeah.
Okay. Apply. Close that. Accept. Let's see. Does this look right now? Yeah.
I think it's only missing one agent. I think we have a reviewer agent in there as well.
Yeah. Or to add the reviewer agent. Yep. Looks good.
And also the reviewing task, I would
Oh,
guess.
yeah. The reviewing task as well. Okay.
Assuming the names are right, this should work.
Okay. Let's see. Run in the flow.
So we actually used this back in the day to simulate a test of having a crew to write a whole book. And it's basically this in steroids, where like you would have the crew plan chapters, and then you could have a crew write a whole chapter for you. And yeah, you can produce way longer form content this way.
So that's really the trick. The plan up front and then have the agent or the crew kind of go through each section and build out the section rather than trying to have it do it all at once.
Yeah, we found that that usually produces way higher quality content. It's kind of like a chain of thought on steroids, right? We're going even one step like higher.
Yeah, so cool. Okay, so while so that looks like it's going. I'm going to switch back to lang trace and let's just see how we're doing. If we go to traces, let's see how much these are costing, by the way, per run. I'm always curious. So 3 cents. I mean, so good.
So
So
cheap,
good.
right? And
So cheap.
I think it's using 4.0 mini. Maybe I hope so. It's using 4.0
It
mini.
is. That's the default, yeah. Actually,
Nice,
we can tell. Let's take a look. No, it is using GPT 4.0. And so we could use
nice.
GPT 4.0 mini. I think I actually manually specified 4.0 mini somewhere. Don't think, let's see. It's
It
in
would be on
the
the end. It would be either on the agents or the end files. It's one of those.
in the
And
agents or the env files, right? The crew. Right, I don't specify it here.
no, it would be on the agency ammo or on the
Oh,
end
you put it in
file.
the YAML.
You can choose to, right? You can put it in the YAML if you want to set per agent different LLMs, or
Yeah.
if you want to set overall, you send the end file and,
So
and that broadcasts to everyone.
the way that I was doing it previously was like right here. I would just say comma LLM equals.
This also works, but I found the YAML to be a little easier.
Yeah, it's cleaner to have all the definitions in one place, definitely. So I'm not actually saying it anywhere. GPT 4.0. There it is. Okay.
Oh, but this was in your old one, was it? Oh no, I don't think so.
Yeah, here. So, but yeah, this is
Yeah, this is your old crew.
yeah, this
Your
is the
old
old crew.
crew
By
is
the
using
way, we should
4.0, yeah.
just we can get rid of that now, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so let's get rid of the
a
old crew. Where is that? EDU, right? This whole thing can be deleted.
yep.
Put in
And
the
by the way, one
trash.
thing that I'm seeing the error that we got there is
Hmm.
probably because if you go on the content writer crew tasks YAML file, we can see that the name of the task is quality review task. So we should update the edu content writer crew to use that one instead. I think it's using if you scroll, it's using yeah review task,
Okay,
and
let me.
also line 52 as well.
Okay, let me before I run it again. Make sure all definitions match naming in tasks and agents. Is it saying to change anything? Quality reviewer. Yeah, so it did find another one that was wrong, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, you got it
Yeah,
right.
quality reviewer. Amazing. Okay. Okay, let's save that. I think we're all saved. So should we try again?
Before we do, let's just
Hmm.
double check the tasks file and make sure that's referencing the right agent as well.
Uh,
So you see that the tasks don't have an agent within them, and we
oh,
should probably add.
this one does. This one
Yeah,
does. So, okay, so let's do this. Add agents to each of these tasks based on agents.yaml. There.
there you go. You're a pro on Cursor already. You got this.
I'm addicted.
It's so good. It's so good.
All right. Apply. Yeah, that looks good. All right, save. Good to go.
Yeah, let's do it. I gotta say, the one thing that is bad about Cursor is that you got very used to it. Like I gotta say, like coding on planes became way harder now.
Yeah, although you can get it all running locally.
I
So
tried to do it, but I struggled with it.
maybe I need to make a video about it. I'm pretty sure you could do it with Cursor. I know that there are plugins with VS Code that you can get it working. It's probably not going to be as clean, but yeah, you don't if you don't have access to the internet, it's going to be tough. Okay, so CrewAI Flow kickoff. Let's see. Hopefully we got this one working. Okay, so fine-tuning LLM's educational content planner, reviewing. Oh, look at this. Yes. I'm going to make this a little bigger so we can see more of it.
All right, second crew is working. Content
Second
writer
crew,
now.
but it's wait, so this was the right. So the writer crew is going to write it's going to essentially kick off multiple times for each section. Is that how I should think about it?
Exactly. It's gonna run once for every section. And by the way, when we created the agents and tasks for the writer crew, we didn't spend too much time on it. One thing that might be worth doing is just kind of like tuning in because now it's gonna probably write two long sections and we don't want that. It was like, hey, write like a shorter section, like we want one or two paragraphs,
Yeah.
because in the end everything's gonna come together, right? So I would say that now that's probably what I want to do is we'll spend some time later on the content writer crew just to kind of like make those prompts in a way that it works great for writing sections of a greater article.
All right, that sounds good. We may save that for another video because this one's getting long already. But that sounds like a good next step.
Yeah, but they're writing. I think this is the third or fourth thing that it's writing already. So we should have a final one within like the next few seconds. I think we forgot something super important in here. So all right, stop this real quick. There's one thing that we missed.
Okay.
Go into our flow, the main.py file. So if you see the second crew when we executed that, you can see that we are passing those inputs variables, right? So we are passing the topic and the audience level, but what we're not passing is the section. So we need to append the section into that before we pass it, and we need to. I think you can probably do that in another. I don't know if that works. I think it might. Um, no, I think that won't work.
Okay.
Yeah. I
How would
think what
you
you want is on the line above, you want to create writer inputs
above the four or within the four?
within the four.
Okay. Writer inputs.
Yes, that's going to do a copy. Then you can tab that. And then on the next line, you want to add the section exactly as it's suggested. Yeah. And then section here, I think you can call to JSON on it.
To JSON. All
Yes.
right.
And then the only one thing that is missing is I don't think that our agents in tasks, especially the tasks, I don't think our tasks in the content writer crew expect this section variable. So we want to make sure that we add it to there.
And do I need to pass in the input variables as well here? Oh no, it did it.
Yes,
It did it already. Never mind. Yep,
yeah.
got it.
So on the tasks for the writer crew, you want to make sure that you add a spot for the section.
Right here in the
Yeah, because
definitions.
yeah, I would say on probably on the tree, I would add them. So you can go at the final, like for example, on the line 5 on the description, and you can break maybe a couple lines, and you can do a section, and then there you go, something like that. Yes, and you can add that probably to all the tasks. Eventually, once that we like get to spend more time on this agents and task definitions, we can probably make it better. But that way now we're actually telling what is the section that it's writing about before we're not doing it.
Got it. Got it. Okay, cool, cool, cool. That makes sense. All right, so let's try again. Ready to go? Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
All right. All right.
All right.
No
So it's
to
not to
JSON.
JSON. Maybe we ask Cursor to do it for us. Like, what is the method that converts Pydantic to JSON?
All right. I don't even remember where we were.
It's right there on line 27 in the other file. Um, yeah, there you go.
What's the right way to convert Pydantic to
Object to
JSON?
JSON. Yeah. Ah, model dump JSON. Yes.
Classic. All right, so dot to, let's just make sure we don't have it anywhere else because I thought I remember we do. No, I guess not. Okay. Okay, let's run it again. All right.
Nice. And by the way, notes for the future, for maybe the follow-up video that you do is I think there's space for some of these agents for the second crew to also have certain tools in case they want to expand on things or fact check things because they're going to have the
Ooh,
references. So you could add Serper to them as well. That would be another thing.
cool.
Other thing that might be helpful is you can set up a custom tool that allows them to search for previous documents and content that you wrote that you like so they can like check examples. That's something that we also have seen work out in the open. So there's a few different things that you can definitely throw at it.
So I have something advanced that I really want to do, and I'll throw it out there. We're not going to do it today, but maybe just get your thoughts on it. I want to be able to create images, graphics, diagrams based on this content. That seems incredibly difficult, but maybe it's possible with Crew.
It is possible. Yes, we did that recently for a use case where basically we were analyzing support data consistently. And what we want is basically for it to draw insights out of it and kind of like plot charts using matplotlib.
Yep.
So we're creating coding agents that would actually write the code to do it.
Oh my God. This is so cool. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so it
All
did
right.
finish.
Yes, I don't know why we got node in there, but if you look at the final ones, we should have all the sections in there. So if you start, for example, from the bottom, the last one that you're seeing is the final section.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, right. Just one
S-
section. So how do I see the whole thing?
So I thought we were printing it out, but for some reason it didn't. I think I see. Do you see that on line 28 we call point.pydentec?
Yeah.
We don't need that. We can drop that point pydantic. And maybe what we can do is we can do dot raw, and I think that should work if I
Right here?
recall correctly. Yeah.
Okay.
It might not necessary, you might not even need that, but
And
again,
you know
just
what? Can we just put it to a PDF for now? How would I do that?
oh yes. So let's do this.
let's oh, go ahead.
Create a new function after this. Yeah, just break the line and create one function like similar to the generate thing. Yes, and you can say save to PDF or save to text file to keep it simple.
Mhm.
You want to make sure that you bring that function one level deeper so it's inside the flow.
Ah, yeah, of course. Okay.
You want to annotate that with the listening annotation. So listen annotation similar to what we have. There you go. And then you can basically you can drop that pass and actually basically save it to a text file. And if you start like if you do Command K and say save content to a text file, it's going to do it for you.
Oh yeah. To text file. Yeah, I'm going to change it to actually being a text file. I don't really need a PDF to be created every time. To text. Okay. Accept.
And then one thing I would say on a line 29, what you want to do is break the line and do a return final content. All right.
Got it.
So now that return is going into the content variable line 33 and doing the whole thing.
Okay. Let's
All
go.
right, let's do it.
Do we want to use GPT-4o Mini? Let's use GPT-4o Mini.
All right.
Where would that be set, or why would it be using? Actually, let's go back to Langtrace, and yeah, so it is using GPT-4o multiple versions. Why would it not be using GPT-4o Mini?
I don't know. The only reason I can see for that is if you have an environment variable set on your system level, that would be pointing out for that. That said, let me get you what is the var that you could use to set it for Omini. 1 second.
Just because it'll also be a lot faster too.
Yeah. All right. So this is what you want to do. You want to set on your .envvar, and I'm going to send you here in the chat that environment variable with that setup.
Got it. Okay, so we're going to switch over to the environment variable. Alex is going to cut this part. All right, so here we go. Now let's run it one more time. CrewAI flow kickoff. Go.
All right. Now it's gonna be fun to see like online trades if everything works, but it should. The one thing that we're not doing as well, and we should do because it's honestly has no cost associated with it, is these agents can search the web, but they're not scraping the pages. So you can add a tool on the researcher ones that scrape web pages, and they will allow to now go deep into those pages and learn more because now they only have the research results to work with.
Okay, I need to take notes on what we're going to do next. This is all really cool. Let's remember to do that. Okay, so we got our sections. Good.
Yes, there you go. So now they're basically writing the content for the first section. And you can see the section information in there. It says JSON, but it should be fine. So it knows that an introduction, the high level goes, everything that we said, including the references. So basically now it knows like what it needs to write. So it wrote the initial section, why LLMs are important. You can see that right in there. And now it's going to the quality assurance specialist.
Beautiful. This is
Yeah,
so cool.
it is going. I wonder like what is the section that it's working now? It's techniques for effective fine tuning. So it's going deep. Yes.
Yeah, yep, there it is. Overall, the content effectively aligns. So that is the reviewer essentially saying what the feedback is.
Yeah. But you see, that's already the thing. Like, one thing that I'm noticing is because the final agent's a QA agent and the expected output is the review, what is happening is the review is being considered the actual, like,
Final
final
output.
section. Yeah, so it's something for us to look into. I think it's still going to be good enough, but yeah, it's something for us to tune in on the agents and tasks from the writer crew,
Got it.
just because we
Got
didn't
it.
spend much time on it. Yeah, because if you look into that, for example, let's expand the terminal there real quick. So you see, let's just scroll for the one above. Like, if you see, there we go, just a little more above that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this was the first one, right? No, this was the QA doing performance quality assessment. So it's the one above that, maybe? Yes, this one is the editor. So the one above that. There we go. All right, so this is the output from like one of the sections. Like it wrote a bunch of things,
Yep.
and then it passed that on to the next one that is the editor to change it. So what we should have said to the editor is like, hey, whatever you change, in the end of your execution, we still want the final section, like the whole section. But if you scroll, it's going over and kind of like giving you suggestions and everything that's going to get interpolated. So we have the educational content text file in the left, if you want to open that up. Yeah. So you see,
Okay.
it's adding the quality assessment report as the actual content, and that's the problem.
Yeah. If you don't mind, can we fix that real quick?
Yes, let's do that. So let's go into the tasks real quick for the content writer, EDU content writer tasks.
EDU research? No. EDU content writer tasks. Right there.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's spend some time on this. So the first thing is we want to make sure that on the editor, we say on the expected output from the editor, we say a polished version of educational content with improved clarity, and then we can add to that. We only want the section content back, nothing else. Exactly.
Do not
Then
include the feedback. I'll just be extra
yes,
explicit.
perfect. And then for the quality review task, we probably want to do something similar, where on the expected output, it's saying like, I want a detailed quality assessment. Like, no, no, no. I want you to update, I want an updated version of the article. So you can probably drop that whole expected output and replace it with, I want an improved version of the section that incorporates all your feedback. Yes, there we go.
Incorporates the feedback. Do not include the feedback itself.
Itself, maybe, yeah.
Just the improved content. Okay.
And now one thing on the first task, I would change that so it knows that it's only writing like a paragraph worth of text, right? So I would say is instead of a well-structured educational content piece, I would say a well-structured paragraph or two paragraphs about this section that it will be part of a longer form content or something. There you go. I think now this will produce way better results.
All right. Okay. Cool. So let's run it one more time. Create kickoff. And I think after this one, we're going to call it because, Joe, I know your time is super valuable and you spent a lot with us already. No
By the
module
way,
named Langtrace. Yes, my favorite.
let let's fix this now. Just UV
UV
add
add
length trace.
Langtrace. I think it's Python SDK.
I'm not sure. Might be.
Pretty sure that's it.
There
Okay.
you go.
Oh, look how easy that was. There we go.
Yeah,
Let's fix this.
I think you might need a link trace package, isn't it? I don't know. I might be wrong.
Just this. No, it's link
No, never mind.
Python SDK. Oh, because I'm in venv, I don't have UV set up. So let's just try a pip install lang trace Python SDK. I don't know if that's gonna work. I'm just guessing right now.
All right. So the module length trace doesn't have init. Oh, by the way, look at your GitHub real quick. That file that you copied this from. Oh, so you see, you import from link trace dash Python. So that's the import that you want on your main file.
There we go.
Yeah, there. Yeah, that was it.
Okay, sweet. All right, now it's tracking the lang
Nice.
trace. Now we have lang trace in place. Now we can double check this run.
And the good thing is we're using Faro Mini, so we're going to be able to also check the cost as well, and that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. What's your favorite model for your agentic workflows?
Faro Mini.
4 I guess that's why it would be the default, huh? Do you ever see a
Yes.
need for using O1, or do you feel like if you are robust enough with the agent definitions, you could get O1 level quality from any model?
I believe right now we can get O level, O1 level quality or even above on any model when you have more
Wow.
control as well. With
Yeah.
O1, you don't have as much control, right? They might produce like a good content, but like with the R setup, you can control so much about how it reasons about all these topics. And we could get away things way more complex than this as well if you want to. But yeah, I don't find the need to use O1, and I find that the latency more than the cost is like is very prohibitive.
Yeah, for sure. Especially like, look, if eh, when I ran it in the previous video, a single run on a very basic use case, like we didn't even have a lot of this robustness that you've helped me set up now. It was 50, 60 cents per run. So imagine when we add that robustness, when we run this potentially dozens, hundreds of times, I mean, that definitely adds up, and then it also slows it all down.
1,000%. I think like there's use cases like that might justify using it, but I think we had to do some changes within Crew to make sure that we could kind of like support the model just because it behaves so differently from all the
Yeah.
other models. So I don't know. I have yet to find a use case that would require that level of like reasoning. Maybe something with math would justify it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I found. And I've talked about this a lot. 98% of use cases can be done with the cutting edge non O1 models, the best of the Claude. And even to be honest, let's say 90% of use cases can probably be done with Llama 3.2. No problem. So the majority of use cases are just going to be accomplished by cheaper, smaller, more efficient models. And I love that. And then especially when you wrap it all with agentic workflows, maybe instead of 90%, it's 95% or 98% of all use cases can be handled by an essentially free model.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And yeah, I mean, you might need to change some of your agent and task definitions, but like once that you get the hang out of it, it works like a
Yeah,
charm and you can definitely see it. And the good thing with like these open source models is that you can host themselves, so you don't need to
right.
feel like you don't need to worry as much about exposing it to certain kind of like data because you know that it's all in house.
That's right. I'm sure you're hearing that a lot talking to enterprises out there.
Yeah, tell me about it. Finance and healthcare, like that's all they talk about.
Yeah, I bet. All right, so it looks like it's working.
Yeah, it's getting to the tail end. I can already see a few things that we could improve, like more in the future. For example, this whole idea of using bullet points, we can kind of dismiss it and say, like, just write a paragraph.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is, I'm noticing that for every section, it tries to wrap up saying, like, oh, in summary or in conclusion. We
Yep.
could say, like, hey, You don't need to do this. Like this is a paragraph in the middle of a section. It doesn't need to say like conclusion or summary. Just get it done. So it's a few minor improvements that we could add on the initial writing task.
Yeah. So no need to always use bullet points. Just use them if it makes sense. And then also, yeah, no need to include summaries of each
Our conclusion,
section.
yeah, our
Summaries
conclusion.
or conclusions of each section, just the content. All right, I'm not going to run it again, but I'll save that for later.
One thing that you could add as well is if you want to, you can kind of limit like, hey, do like 3 or 2 paragraphs the most, and that could also help.
All right, I'm gonna, before I add that, I want to actually read over one of these in depth. I want to check it for accuracy, check it for completeness. Is it too verbose? And then I'll come back and I'll iterate on these tasks and agent descriptions.
Yeah, as I said, I think there's a lot of next steps that you can take this. Like from, I think adding the scraper to the research alone will already make a huge difference.
Yeah.
You can also add in the scraper for the second agent, the second crew, because now the agent of this crew can look into the references and making sure that the data is valid and do a QA so there's no hallucinations or anything. So there's a few different ways that you can take this for sure.
It looks like it's wrapping up. One last
It's
thing is, oh, go ahead.
it's done actually. You should be able
Yeah.
to open the educational content.
So I also think to speed up this entire process, kind of once you really tighten up all the definitions and your crew and the workflow, swap in Grok. Just have, 100x speeds. Why not?
Exactly.
Okay, so let's look
It's the
at
educational content.
educational content.
Yes.
Yep. All right, let's get rid of that. Here we go. Let's see, data collection. Yep. Qualitative, combining assessment. Yeah, this looks really good. So I'm going to spend some time. I'm going to read over this. It's definitely, I would probably want to make it a little bit longer, but it shouldn't be longer for longer's sake. I need to read it and understand what it's saying, what it might be missing, and then I could just clean up the agent and task definitions.
Yeah, and the one thing that would be cool is like you can go a little crazy with cursor and you can copy this output or like a section and go into the task definition and say like this content of like this group of tasks gave me this section. I actually would love this to be longer or to be deeper or anything. And can you rewrite these agents for me or these tasks for me? And it's gonna try to tweak some of those definitions if you don't spend too much time on it.
Awesome. I think we're good for now. Joe, thank you so much. I really appreciate all your help. I'm so excited for all of these new features. I'm going to be playing around with it probably the rest of the day. And then I'm going to make a part 3 of this video. Why not? This is so much fun. And this is actually a real world use case. I am going to use this in creating educational content for everybody. And I'll push all the code. So if you want to check it out, you'll see it. It'll be GitHub in the description below. Joe, thank you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. It was great. Have a good one, everyone.
All right. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.